All right, so I'm sure all of you on the call every day look at your gross ad and your net ad numbers and feel the intensity of the competition. We see it with literally all of our telecom providers, all of our telecom clients that we talk to all the time. It's gotten far more intense than it was 10, 20 years ago, and there's a reason for that. So first of all, I wanted to share some data with you guys just as validation. It's not just that your market share report got more challenging. It's that the competition got that much more challenging. And you see it on the left-hand side, with the size of the deployments, of fiber deployments of the last 10 years. And you can see that, in addition to the standard ILEX and MSO starting to deploy fiber, by the way, I always thought it was ironic that the MSOs would start deploying fiber when they started out with, with primarily a coax plant, but they're in the fiber game as well. All of you guys in the audience that are MSOs know that. And we're starting to see a lot more overbuilder activity as well. And it's not just the plant being deployed. You see also on the right-hand side that there's genuine inroads being made. There's an increasing number of areas where you have multiple fiber providers to choose from if you're a consumer, and fixed wireless as well. I mean, you guys, again, if you've been paying attention to your market share reports, you know that fixed wireless is making some real inroads as well in a number of markets, and it's putting pressure on everybody. And in the course of talking and working with many of our clients, we kind of started seeing a pattern in terms of the people that stand up the capabilities and the processes to do this right. And the folks who were a little bit behind the curves and not understanding why they were losing share. And so we thought we'd just bring that up today and really share with you guys what we see as being a best practice. Next. So the very first thing is if you think about where fiber and where access is deployed, obviously it's deployed locally. The network footprint is incredibly local. The competition has also gotten incredibly local. And so what we're seeing is this dichotomy between, on one hand, fiber overbuilders and fixed wireless providers that are competing in a super targeted way for every market, every street corner, every census block, and a number of legacy players and national players that haven't gone to that level yet. And typically what we see is still a belief, which is just that, a belief, that if you have a centralized approach with some light touch level of segmentation and personalization, you can compete at this granular level. And what we're finding out is, no, you can't just do this inch thick. You got to go a mile deep into this personalization and targeting business, which is where the competition is. Next. What we're seeing now also is a lot of folks are building networks, and what they're finding out is it's on a relative basis easy to build the network out. You're just managing your network engineering crews, your construction crews. You make sure that you're deploying that fiber or that tower as it may be. What they're finding out is incredible pressure from the investment side to then show an ROI, drive penetration. And what people are running into is, hey, it was far easier to put that fiber in the ground or that fixed wireless tower in there than it is to actually go after the subs. And again, what we run into are the markets may be more saturated and price sensitive than the original plan called out for. We don't have visibility into where the right prospects are, who are the people that we should go after. The data, when we try to get to the data, is incredibly fragmented and siloed. Again, the telecom industry is a centuries-old industry. And so as a result, there's a lot of legacy systems that are stitched together with a lot of silo issues that prevent you from being able to stitch together a good picture of what's happening. And as a result of that, those management teams, again, whether they're network or sales and marketing, tend to be reactive. We kind of find out after the fact, oh, we lost share. We lost, all these subs that we thought we had, or we weren't able to acquire and put new subs on the new infrastructure. And you figure it out 3, 4, 5 months later instead of figuring it out as it's happening. So what do the best performers that we see do? What they do is the first realization is understanding that we live in a digital world. And by digital, I don't mean just a web-mediated world. I mean a world in which every touch point, every marketing touch point, every sales touch point can be captured, can be stored and retrieved within your data infrastructure. And if you're doing it right, you're able to track the entire buyer journey, the entire consumer journey, customer journey, from where are they? Are they aware of who you are? To are they considering you? To are they into a process of buying you? To are they going to stick with you? The best players instrument that entire journey in a way that can be followed from the very beginning to the very end. So you know at every point in time, what is the mix of touch points that you've applied? What's providing a return, what's not providing a return? You can start predicting outcomes as well. Who is likely to make it to the next, to convert to the next stage? Who is likely to buy? Who is likely to churn? The key to all this is having the ability to instrument, track, and connect the dots between all these different touch points. All your marketing touch points, online and offline, all your sales touch points, online and offline. So what does that look like once I'm instrumented? On the left-hand side is what we see with a lot of folks. And if you're in that situation, it's not unusual. You're basically in the mass of a lot of folks who right now tend to be more reactive and struggle with responding to market changes. The very first problem, which has existed for many years, is a siloed system. So you have this disparate collection of systems that have evolved over years, either through lack of internal management or acquisitions that were not fully integrated, which is very common. We see a lot of static reporting that is driven by all kinds of shadow reporting teams, no drill down capabilities, no real auditing or no real controls over them. And the performance results are typically reviewed after the fact. It's you look back, what happened last month, what happened last week, and it may take weeks to months to figure out what really happened because you don't really have an immediate way of knowing why things happened. Once you put in place the right data infrastructure, the right reporting and analytic capabilities, the folks that we've seen that we've done work with that do that well, we see that right away they have what we call this unified data backbone. We also call it an AI backbone because what it really does is once you have this full 360 integration, you can deploy a number of analytic and AI solutions. The second thing it does is because we made sure that they have a proper canonical data model and semantic layer with the right data in it, they have unlimited visibility into all the different dimensions that are relevant to understand that buyer journey. Because it's also the right data model and it's been integrated end to end, that means they have real-time operational and financial insights out of it because it's connected to their billing system. And because we've applied knowledge graphs, we also understand why performance is up or down. We can tell you right away whether it's an acquisition or retention issue, whether it's specifically voluntary or involuntary, whether it's specifically in this segment, in this market, or with this set of products. So how do we make it happen? It all starts with the data backbone. What I mentioned is the AI backbone. You've probably seen some version of this. This is certainly not new, but doing it well and doing it quickly is a differentiator today. The idea is to bring together within one warehouse that is your analytics warehouse. So think, a warehouse that might be Snowflake, it might be Databricks, it might be Fabric, it might be Redshift. You want to bring within that data warehouse all of the relevant data sources. You want to build using a medallion architecture, the right canonical data model within your semantic layer. And then once you have that unified semantic layer, you can use it for a number of applications that I'm going to talk about in a minute. The thing I want to mention about that data layer is for most folks we talk to, at first, the process is daunting. And the truth is, you go about it in an agile manner. You don't have to figure it out overnight. What you do is you have to be very deliberate and intentional about how you build it so that every step of the way, what you do is incremental and compounds. You don't have to bring every data source. Just start with a few that you know you can work with, even just one. But be intentional and deliberate with how you bring the data, how you transform it, how you build your master objects so that it feeds into a clean, well-architected data layer, a semantic layer. And over time, you will continue compounding your effort and build toward that 360 view. Why do you want to have that? It enables a number of questions that your management team, your investors are going to have. The first one is going to be literally every day or every week, market activation type questions. Where are we making progress? Where are net ads and gross ads performing? Where are they not? Why? And if we have to go spend another dollar of marketing or sales resources, where do we spend it? Which media channel, which sales channel, which incentive, which market, which product? Knowing where to spend the next dollar is really important. The next set of questions you'll get and you'll be able to answer is typically there's benchmarks to be met around penetration levels within a certain amount of time, as well as return on investment. In many cases, legacy providers do not have the visibility, the full visibility into the ROI and the unit economics at a household or a neighborhood level. You have to do it at the neighborhood level at a minimum, if not at the household level, so you know that you're putting the next dollar in the right place. You also know you're providing the right ROI per the business case that you most likely had when you got your CapEx dollars to deploy the infrastructure. And last but not least, having the data backbone in place enables you to plug into it a variety of reporting analytics and AI-driven decision intelligence solutions, which in this, in today's world, if you think about tools like Claude, you're able to generate within minutes the type of analytics that human analysts would have taken probably weeks, if not months in some cases, to produce back 10 some years ago. So what do these analytics look like? Probably the simplest one, which most people on the call would be already doing in some form of fashion, is segmentation. The difference this time is you're no longer segmenting at a very high level. You literally segment and reclassify every household based on who's actually living in that household, so that as you're thinking through messaging and personalization down to each household level, you literally know who they are and what message will resonate with them. The next slide is a little more analytical, a little more quantitative in the sense that not only do you have to know for each household which segment do they belong to, you want to know precisely for each household what is the churn risk in a way that's been vetted, validated, that you know is actually predictive of the real churn risk. You can also predict whether they're going to take you up on that direct marketing offer or that social media ad. The point being, for each of these households, down to each household, you need to have the infrastructure to be able to score when is that household going to convert, and if and when they're going to be at risk of churning. It's the only way you're going to know for sure whether your efforts are likely to bear fruit or not. The other thing I would say is you can't do this at a national level either. If you think about the competitive dynamics that we started with at the beginning of the call, there's very different competitive dynamics market by market today. The competitive mix is different. You might have markets that are fiber dominated. You might have markets that are actually fixed wireless access dominated. You might have markets that are MSO dominated, or ILEC for that matter. Based on the mix, on the competitive mix of each market, you're going to have different competitive dynamics, which means you're going to have to price differently. You're going to have to target differently. And you can only understand that if you track these markets down to the household in a very localized way. So talking about case study number one, before we go into the case study itself, the thing I want to say is the challenge again for all these things is how to do this at the household level. We've been talking about doing things at the household level forever. It's the concept in itself is not new. What is new is we now have the ability to actually do it in a way that is cost effective, that is fast, that is scalable because of cloud technologies and AI. And you couldn't do this before. And we can now actually bring it to market. We can actually now stand up those capabilities so that you can do the targeting at an incredible speed and at an acceptable cost. Case study number one was a fiber operator we worked with over a number of years. And really the challenge there was $1 billion plus investment in fiber, a very demanding investor who wanted to know exactly what was the return, where to spend the next money. There was ample capital to deploy. We needed to figure out with them where to put that next dollar so we would maximize the returns and maximize the speed to meeting penetration targets. We built with them, for them, this unified analytic foundation along the lines that we just discussed on previous slides, and instrumented the management team so that they always had, on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, the tracking, the insights, the analytics they needed to make those decisions. And as a result of that, they grew 2 to 3x in revenue over the course of 2 years, met their benchmarks, met their ROI targets, and took share from their local competitors. And the CEO was kind enough to endorse us. We're very grateful for his partnership, and we'll gladly continue working with them. Second case study, similar operator, different set of markets, also saw a 2x revenue growth, 16% MPL improvements. This was a smaller operator. Their raise was 200 million. And again, a very focused investor base, really wanting to see those dollars getting deployed and producing a return quickly, meeting the benchmarks that they had. We did a similar type project where we unified their data environment and the reporting capabilities and the analytic capabilities. We enabled them to score with high accuracy propensity models every single household, so they knew how to get to these households, which households to go after, and very importantly, what mix to apply in terms of marketing and sales touchpoints to each household to maximize conversion. Here again, the CRO, who was the primary client, very thankful for the partnership. We're incredibly thankful to him as well for enabling us to participate in his success. One more thing, and I guess can I just show one more slide? The last slide will be the maturity model. If you can switch to slide 12. All right, I think we're out of time. What you will have, let me tell you what it'll be in the PDF that we're going to share with you guys. We've included a five-stage maturity model. What it does is it allows you don't even have to go do the self-assessment survey online, but I'll speak about that in a second. In the PDF, you'll have our five-stage maturity model. What it does is it allows you to have a quick checklist to see, where am I on the spectrum? Am I ready or not? What are the next types of things that I should be doing? And it's just a really convenient checklist. If you want a more detailed and interactive version of that, we'll have also a self-assessment survey that you can fill out online, on a self-serve basis. You don't have to talk to anyone. And obviously, if you want to talk to us, we'd be glad to talk to you. John, back to you.